The story begins by showing a man running through a dense forest, trying to escape from someone, but suddenly, another man appears in front of him and attacks him, causing him to fall to the ground. Then the scene shifts to a girl named Runa, who had come into the forest for hunting. Suddenly, she notices a deer there. As soon as she points her arrow toward it to kill it, she starts remembering moments from her childhood, when her father used to teach her how to hunt. Lost in these thoughts, Runa finally shoots an arrow at the deer. In Runa's family, there were her mother Manhild, her younger sister Botheld, and her grandfather Regent, who was blind. Runa's father had gone to war 2 years ago, but he never returned. Because of this, the whole family was deeply saddened, especially Runa and her younger sister Botheld, who was the closest to their father. That is why Botheld prayed every single day for his return. However, Runa's grandfather tried to make them understand that their father might no longer be alive, but neither Botheld nor Runa believed his words. They felt that their father was still alive somewhere and that one day he would surely return home. After Jor left, Runa took all the responsibilities of the family onto her shoulders. Her family was somehow surviving by living in a small hut deep inside the forest. Runa went hunting every single day because hunting was the only way they could fill their stomachs. Then one day, Manhild asks Runa to go and catch fish from the sea. After hearing this, Runa leaves in a boat to catch fish, but as soon as she reaches the middle of the sea, darkness suddenly covers her eyes. She then sees a terrifying vision where her entire family is covered in blood, and skeletons are lying everywhere around her. Seeing this, Runa suddenly opens her eyes and realizes that she had fallen into the sea. Somehow, she manages to get out of the water and quickly rushes back home. Runa goes to her mother and tells her everything that happened. After hearing this, her mother angrily tells Runa to stop thinking about such things. Hearing that, Runa also gets upset and tells her mother that she is not the only one suffering from this pain. In fact, ever since Runa's father left for war, Manhild had become very lonely and quiet. She barely talked to Runa and Botheld anymore and remained lost in her own sorrow all the time. This deeply hurt Runa. That is why she tells Manhild that she had not only lost her father, but had also lost her mother. Saying this, Runa leaves from there. The next day, she shares everything with her grandfather. After Joar's departure, he was the only person with whom Runa shared all the feelings of her heart. That is why, even today during their conversation, Runa mentions her visions to him. After hearing this, her grandfather explains to her that the more she thinks about those visions, the more they will continue to haunt her, so she should stop paying attention to them. After hearing his words, Runa feels that her grandfather is right, and she decides to stop thinking about the visions. A few days later, Runa goes into the forest in search of prey when she suddenly comes across a man named Torulf, who is badly injured. Torulf's condition is extremely critical, so Runa quickly brings him back to her home. But the moment Manhild sees him, she becomes very angry and yells at Runa, telling her to leave Torulf back in the forest. She feared that keeping a stranger in their home could bring trouble upon the family. Besides, the family was already on the verge of starvation, and they barely had enough food for themselves, let alone for another person. That is why she insists that Runa take him back. But Runa clearly refuses and tells her mother that if her father saw them treating an injured man like this, he would be deeply disappointed. Hearing this, Manhild finally calms down and allows Torulf to stay there until he recovers. After this, without telling Runa anything, Manhild goes to the market and sells her father's horse because they were in desperate need of money. Meanwhile, Runa and her grandfather take very good care of Torulf, and because of this, he regains consciousness after 2 days. As soon as he opens his eyes, he sees Runa's grandfather sitting in front of him. Seeing that, the old man tells him that he is now out of danger. Hearing this, Torulf thanks him for saving his life. Then the grandfather asks him who he is. Torulf explains that he is a warrior. Hearing this brings tears to the grandfather's eyes, and he starts telling Torulf about his son Jor, who was also a warrior. After hearing this, Torulf tells him that he knows Jor very well and had even gone to war alongside him. Hearing these words shocks the grandfather. He quickly asks whether Jor is still alive. Torulf replies that he saw Jor for the last time just a week ago, and at that time he was completely fine. In fact, it was Jor himself who had sent Torulf there. Torulf further explains that when they went to war 2 years earlier, they fought many battles. In one of those battles, they were on the verge of defeat because many of their companions had already been killed, and the few who were left had all been badly injured. But Jor did not lose hope. Instead, he fought bravely, won the battle, and saved the lives of his companions. After that, as they continued their journey, they came across a tree surrounded by scattered gold. Seeing this, everyone started digging near the tree, and beneath the ground they discovered a huge treasure filled with valuable items. The treasure was so enormous that even if all of them divided it equally, their future generations could have lived comfortably for the rest of their lives. Because of this, everyone hurried to gather the treasure. However, Jor warned them not to touch it because that place once held the cursed grave of ancient Viking warriors. It was no ordinary grave. The Vikings used to bury their greatest warriors along with their weapons and treasures of gold and silver. The grave also had the rune of the dead carved upon it, an ancient magical symbol. The symbol was believed to bind the souls of the dead, and the cursed grave was guarded by the Draugr themselves, to whom all the treasure belonged. That is why Jor warned his companions not to take any of the treasure. But no one listened to him. Seeing this, even Jor finally started taking his share of the gold, because he too wanted to free his family from poverty. However, suddenly all the men began fighting among themselves, as each one wanted to become the sole owner of the treasure. During this violent conflict, several people even lost their lives. Terrified by what was happening, Torolf threw away his share of the gold, and after that, no one attacked him anymore. But Torolf was injured while trying to save Jor. After that, Jor told him to immediately head to his home, and said that after a few days he would come and bring Torolf's share of the gold. That is why, despite being badly injured, Torolf made a long journey and reached Runa's house. But Jor still had not arrived there yet. Hearing this, Runa becomes even more worried about her father. As time slowly passes, Torolf becomes like a part of their family. He starts helping with all the household work and also develops a strong bond with the grandfather. One day, Botheld is standing outside the house when she suddenly sees her father walking toward the home from a distance. Overjoyed, she quickly runs inside to inform everyone. However, Runa notices that something about his behavior feels different. Still, she doesn't ask Jor anything about it. That night, while sleeping, Runa has another vision. In it, she sees Botheld with blood coming out of her mouth. The sight terrifies her, and she immediately wakes up, but she convinces herself that it was just a dream and ignores it. After this, we see Torolf and Jor together. Jor tells him that after obtaining the treasure, he is not happy at all. Instead, there is something that is constantly disturbing him. Manhild overhears their conversation, so she comes there and asks Torolf to leave them alone for a while. Respecting her request, he leaves the place. Meanwhile, Runa keeps thinking about her vision again and again. She feels as if some unknown danger is approaching her family, but she is unable to understand what that danger really is. Jor was also very troubled. Manhild tried to calm him down and also suggested that Torolf should be sent away from there. She had never liked Torolf from the beginning, so, trusting her words, Jor also tells Torolf to leave. Runa does not feel good about this, but Torolf agrees to go. During this, Jor gives him his share of the gold, and Torolf leaves with it. After his departure, Runa deeply misses him. The next day, when Runa asks Jor about his changed behavior, he tells her that he feels like taking that gold was a mistake. However, he himself does not understand the real reason behind this feeling. So he quietly leaves the house at night, taking all the gold with him. In the morning, when Runa wakes up, her mother tells her that Jor has disappeared with all the treasure. Hearing this, Runa becomes very worried and goes to her sister, who shows her a golden bead. Botheld was wearing it inside a chain around her neck. When Runa asks her who gave it to her, she mentions Joar's name. A few days later, when Runa returns home from hunting, she cannot find Botheld anywhere. She searches everywhere, but there is no trace of her. Seeing this, Runa immediately grabs her bow and heads toward the forest. Meanwhile, Botheld, who is wandering in the forest, suddenly feels the presence of someone nearby. To hide from it, she quickly takes shelter behind a tree. Suddenly, Torolf arrives there and covers Botheld's mouth, telling her to stay quiet. Before Botheld can even ask what is happening, a Viking soldier attacks Torolf. At that moment, Runa also reaches the spot and shoots the soldier down with her arrow. After that, they all escape and return home. There, Runa tells her mother that Viking warriors have attacked them. Hearing this, Manhild and the grandfather become extremely frightened. After this, Torolf locks them inside a room and decides to fight the warriors along with Runa. In reality, the Vikings were not normal humans but zombies, which is why even Runa felt unable to gather the courage to face them. So she quickly goes inside the house and locks the door. After that, she asks him who all of them are. Torolf remains silent for a moment, remembering the companion he just saw outside as a zombie. Then he finally tells Runa the truth, that the treasure they had stolen was cursed. all of his companions turned into zombies because of that curse, and they even turned their own families into zombies as well. That is why Jor took all the gold and left from there, so that they could all stay safe. However, Torolf is unable to understand why these zombies have come here, because Jor had already taken all the gold and left long ago. But then Botheld remembers the golden bead that Jor had given her. She realizes that the zombies have come here because of that bead. However, she does not want to part with it, so she swallows it. Meanwhile, Runa and Torolf prepare to fight the zombies. At that moment, they see the leader of the zombies, the same warrior from whose grave they had stolen the cursed treasure. Since the number of zombies is far too great, they decide to escape instead of fighting them. While running away, Runa suddenly remembers the bead. She immediately tells Botheld to spit it out or get rid of it, but it is already too late, as Botheld has swallowed it, and now all the zombies start moving toward them. Seeing this, Runa tells her mother to take Botheld and leave from there. Until then, she and Torolf try to hold back the zombies. Manhild agrees and runs away with Botheld. But suddenly, a zombie attacks and kills Manhild. This completely breaks Runa, and she rushes toward the zombies to take revenge. In the midst of them, she sees Jor, now turned into a zombie. Overcome with anger, she prepares to shoot him with an arrow, but Torolf stops her, believing that some part of Jor is still alive inside him. Then Torolf begins to sing a song. Hearing it, Jor starts to recognize him. After hearing the song, the remaining zombies begin to collapse to the ground as they are freed from the curse. Taking advantage of the moment, Runa kills the zombie leader, and then it is revealed that Runa was having these visions because Jor was going through all of this himself. Since she was the closest to him, she was receiving these signals, and with this, the movie comes to an end.